with Mike with more writing tips.
Good morning, folks. Today I'd like to talk about world building. Science fiction writers know exactly what I mean. When you posit a future world, you have to make it convincing and internally consistent. There are books about this subject. My most famous example of world building is Nexus, which we've been working on for almost 45 years now, Steve Rude and I. And it grew from a simple story and branched out and became more and more complex, eventually encompassing the entire galaxy. But from the very beginning, I knew it was a star-spanning saga, and I wanted to make it credible. So one of the things I did was look into faster-than-light drive. Well, believe it or not, faster-than-light drive is theoretically possible. There's a book called The Iron Sun, which talks about how you can use a black hole to travel interstellar distances. This is another one. And we included an explanation in the very first black and white issue of Nexus, and this is what it is. A black hole is a star that collapses in upon itself because the gravity is so great that it just pulls everything in, including light. Light cannot escape the gravity of a black hole, and that's why it's called a black hole. But before this star collapsed, it was spinning. When it collapsed, it spun infinitely faster, just like an ice skater you see on the ice who's spinning like this, and then she draws her hands in like this, and her spin becomes incredibly fast. The Iron Sun posited that this throws out a gravitational field, a vast gravitational field that covers millions of miles, and is shaped like a saucer, or maybe two frisbees put together with a star in the middle. And that a ship approaching the gravitational field, if it entered at precisely the right angle, at 90 degrees to the azimuth, it would be instantly sucked into the black hole and spat out of a white hole that exists some light years distance. Now, nobody's tested this yet, and they're unlikely to test it in our lifetime, but theoretically it's possible. And so that's how we gave you scientific backing to faster-than-light travel. Now, it shows like Star Trek or Star Wars, they never address this. They just say, the faster-than-light drive, the warp speed, Scotty, or whatever, and there's no explanation. But readers who get sucked into science fiction, especially technical science fiction, are interested in how these things happen. When you're building a world, all you have to do is think about it. We're all human beings, and all our stories are designed to appeal to human beings. We're not aliens, and I've often thought that if we were aliens, or we were writing an entertainment for aliens, it would be incomprehensible to us. But because we're human beings and we need to relate to what is human, we always base our aliens in some way on what we know of human behavior or animal behavior. I have also based elements of Nexus on the political system that we know now. And one of the things I placed in the early books was the possibility that 500 years in the future, a Russian dictatorship would still exist and control a number of planets. It doesn't seem that far-fetched. Now, I've just finished a vast military science fiction novel with my friend Diggs Brown. Diggs is a decorated veteran who served 2 tours of duty in Afghanistan. The name of the book is Bravo Zulu, and Diggs did most of the writing. Diggs is intimately familiar with military protocol and tactics. All the tactics, strategies, the training sequence, the handling of weapons is right on. And anybody who reads it, whether they're military or not, are going to sense the authenticity of that story. So this is knowledge that he brought to it, personal knowledge. And I have to point out that military protocols have remained more or less the same throughout history. If you look at the great military planners like Tacitus or Napoleon or Metternich, they'll say the same thing about the chain of command, the necessity of training your troops, and of course Sun Tzu has written a whole book on how to conduct war. And the rules he laid down centuries ago still apply today. Now, I don't do that much world building, but I've done my share. I wrote a Nexus novel, and I'm almost through with the next Nexus novel. My friend Kevin J. Anderson does nothing but world building. He's written at least a dozen Dune novels with Brian Herbert, the son of Frank Herbert. But of course, they had Frank Herbert's Dune to build upon. And that's a superb example of world building. It has no relation to Earth's civilization, except that it's written in English and that the characters are recognizably human. But Kevin has also written a great number of world building science fiction sagas by himself. Before he begins, he writes a detailed outline, and then he narrates the bulk of the text into a recorder while hiking through the mountains, and hires a transcriptionist to type it up for him, and he edits that. He also goes over his manuscripts an infinite number of times to make sure that they're accurate. So world building is no mystery. You can't be afraid of it. You have to think big. You have to do a little research. And you know, I love books. We all love physical medium. And I still have this book, and somewhere I have the Iron Sun, but I couldn't find it today. But if you go online and you ask, how is it possible to use black holes to travel interstellar distances, you'll get explanations like the one I just gave you. Don't be afraid of world building. Embrace it. Look at the world around you. Study human behavior. If you're going to go into alien behavior, you're going to have to make it up out of the whole cloth. But since all our science fiction stories, our fables and legends, are meant for human consumption, bear in mind that everything is designed around what we know, the human race, not what the Klingons know or the Berserkers on Planet X. All you have to do is dig in. It does not hurt to outline your world building before you begin. How many worlds are involved? What are their political structures? What are their citizens like? What do they believe? Technology, faster than light travel, communications, aging, health. Just think about it and go for it.
Okay, great. Anything new on the horizon?
Well, I just mentioned that Diggs Brown and I have just finished Bravo Zulu, a very large military science fiction novel. We're in the process of getting it edited. I don't expect it to be out anytime soon. But next week we are launching Private American. This is a comic book or a graphic novel that we will be funding ourselves on Indiegogo. Private American is everything Captain America should be, but isn't.
Okay, very good. Well, we missed last week. Mike was traveling and visiting Madison, where he grew up. The next couple weeks, I will be out of town, so his videographer will be on vacation. All right, thanks for listening. Please remember to subscribe, like, comment, and we appreciate you watching. Thank you.